All right, hey Tauren, hey family. This is an accompanying video to the lesson that you're going to be having today, which is Monday when I'm making this video, and also on Wednesday, because we're going to be doing chords. So I'm going to teach you how to play these chords in the lessons, but understandably, because I give you so much to do, you might actually forget the specific fingerings of each chord. So I'm going to run through a few of those on this video for you to get you started. Okay, so Tauren, the first chord that we're going to be doing today is the C chord. It's this one right here. It's an extremely common chord in music. Now, it's relatively easy when you get to know how to hold it, but when you first have to hold this chord, it is a little bit of a stretch of the fingers, so be patient with yourself when you're learning how to play it. Okay, so first piece of advice, I'll tell you this in the lesson too, is that when you're actually holding down onto the chord, similar to the power chords, you want to use this part of your finger, this kind of fleshy little bit where you're getting your calluses, and you want to press it as hard as possible, as close to the fret marking as you possibly can in order to get, I guess, the best tonal quality in the sound. Alright, so in order to hold the C chord, we start with our first finger. We play on the first fret of the B string, this one right here. We go for our second finger, which plays on the second fret of the D string, this one right here. And then finally, we wrap it up with our third finger playing the third fret of the A string, just like this. So all together, you have a C chord. And now my battery's about to die, so I'm going to charge it up and we're going to go on to the next one. Alright, hey Tauren, hey family, we're back for chord number 2. Alright, and this is a 2-for-1 because we're going to be learning a minor chord and a major chord. But they're very, very similar. The difference is only literally one finger between the minor chord and making the major chord. So this is probably the easiest chord that you'll learn in music when you first get started. It's almost easier than a power chord Tauren, so you'll have this by the end of this lesson without any trouble whatsoever. The chord is an E minor chord. It's kind of a really nice, kind of melancholy sounding chord. It's used in quite a bit of blues music. And the major chord version of that is an E major chord, a bit brighter and more happy sounding. Again, something that is used a lot in blues music too. Okay, well, so we'll start with the minor chord because it's a little bit simpler. In order to play this one, what you want to do is it's all on the second fret in terms of what you'll be holding down. You use your second finger, this one right here, and you'll be placing that one on the A string of the second fret. Now, super easy. In order to actually make the chord, all you do is you pop your third finger just underneath that on the D string, just like this, and then you've actually made the chord playing all 6 of the strings. Sounds really, really good, right? So super easy. Second finger on the A string of the second fret, third finger tucked in just underneath, really close to the fret marker so you get that really clear sound. Okay, so that's really, really cool. Super easy, right? So how do you make the major chord? Well, this is even easier. All you do is you place your first finger on the G string of the first fret. So if you have a look at what you've got now, first finger on the G string of the first fret, second finger on the A string of the second fret, and then tucked in underneath, you've got your third finger on the D string of the second fret. This is the major chord. Okay, watch the video back if you need to do it a bunch more times, but you'll be singing the blues and playing them really, really soon. All right, buddy, we're on to the next chord. Okay, new chord time. It's an A chord, which is a super awesome chord too. Bright, happy, it's a major chord too. You'll know the difference obviously between a major chord, Tauren, and a minor chord, simply based on the fact whether or not the chord has minor written after it. The minor chords are a little bit sadder, the major chords are a bit brighter and happier. Okay, so let's go to the C chord that we were learning how to play earlier, which is, if you could remember, just like this. But if you want to form an A chord, here's a little trick to making it very, very easy. You want to make the movements between your fingers when you're changing chords as quick and as easy as possible. They call it having fluid movements on the guitar. It's kind of cheesy, but I guess that's the name. Alright, so with the C chord, here it is. I'm going to keep my second finger, which is just this one here. It's on the second fret of the D string. That's going to stay exactly where it is. But now, if you have a look at the actual chord, my first finger goes up to the G string of the second fret, and then my third finger tucks underneath him on the B string of the second fret. So in total, we've got the first finger is on the G string of the second fret, second finger is on the D string of the second fret, there's a lot of second frets, and the third finger is on the B string of the second fret. This is your A chord. When you get a chance and you can comfortably hold a C chord and an A chord, this is an exercise I would like you to practice. Go between the two of them, playing maybe a couple of strums each time. We'll start with our C chord, 1, 2, and then the A chord, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can do really any strumming pattern you want, Torrin, when you're actually learning this, but I'd encourage you to try to get those movements as quick as possible to the point where you can do it one strum after the other. Oddly, a reference you probably wouldn't know, but it's the beginning of a Creedence Clearwater Revival song that they wrote about the Vietnam War, which is pretty damn cool. It's a cool song, I think, called Proud Mary or something like that. All right, buddy, we're on to the next chord. See you later. All right, Torrin and family, chord time. Ooh, we're getting into the serious territory now. Now, this is another one of the most basic chords that you'll learn when you start playing guitar. We're just going to start with a couple of these basic ones just to get you going, and then we'll move to some more complicated and painful chords. All right, because you have to press your hand down and use that pinky that I was telling you about, and your hand's going to be distorted in this weird claw thing. It's horrible. But eventually it will sound really good, which is awesome too. All right, so we're going to be working on our D chord. There is our D chord here. It's really good for folk music, Torrin. You were kind of into a little bit of the picking and stuff like that you, or at least you mentioned you might be interested in learning a little bit about that, so this is a great chord to get you started on that. Okay, so in order to play it, we're going to play it as follows. Our first finger will be on our G string of the 2nd fret. We're going to drop our second finger down to the high E of the 2nd fret, and our third finger is just going to pop right in the middle here, just on the B string of the 3rd fret, remember that. So you've got 2nd fret for the first finger on the G string, 2nd fret for the 2nd finger on the high E string, and in the one in the middle is your 3rd finger on that B string. Now with this chord, Torrin, too, when you first get started you can play all 6 strings, but I would recommend, if possible when strumming it, you only strum from the 5th string or the 4th string down. You'll hear the difference, see? Just a little bit muddy, but if you actually play it without that, it's a little bit brighter and nicer. We'll go into the concept of what a bass note is a little bit further down the line, but if you start strumming like this, it'll make some sense. All right, so you've learnt a couple of great chords. You've learnt your D, you've learnt your A, you've learnt your C, you've learnt your E minor, and you've learnt your E major. And also some power chords. All right, so I think that's a lot of chords to get you started. Hopefully these videos will help you along the way as well. So rock on, Torrin. Keep on practicing.